Okay, is this working now? It says live, but on my phone it does not say live. Are we working here? There we go. Do 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 do. I can confirm that things are working. Merriment is live. All right. So I don't know what happened last week. My thing that I used to stream all of this, when I came back, it said that it needed an update, and I guess it sure did, because then when I went in to get a clip from last week to post to Instagram, it was just like, what video? What are you talking about? And I was talking about a whole video that I created. So welcome back to Merriment Mondays Live, and I'm gonna redo the video that I did last week, which is on gratitude. That's what we're talking about today. So welcome back. All right, so let's first get into your magical merriment moments, and these are the things that you are grateful for, and I'm going to tell you mine, and I'm really just doing the exact same thing that I did last week, and that's okay. So I'm going to tell you what I am grateful for, things that I saw. So here you can see I found this really cool painted phone booth, and it's like spray painted, and I feel like we should be spray painting all of them. I also saw this really fun conversation online with this person who was curious about whether or not phone booths were real, or if they were just something that we like utilized in Hollywood movies to demonstrate like being able to communicate with people. And the interactions that were shared back to that were really nice too, because they were saying like, we really appreciate your curiosity about the past. And also we feel very old that our answer is yes, this is what we use, these were everywhere. But in Baltimore, they haven't really taken them down. They're just still like pieces of infrastructure that exist. So there's just, it's not really, I mean, I guess it's trash, but I feel like there's an opportunity to decorate them. Anyway, the other thing was that I did this, last week, so it was closer to New Year's, but I found this man who was selling a lot of old school New Year's hats on the side of the road, and it made me feel really grateful to like live in a city. A lot of times I can get in my head about that I don't live in a like quote real city. We can maybe feel like the grass is always greener on the other side, and I can feel like New York or LA or Chicago are the only kinds of active real cities or something like that, and that's not true. And sometimes I just need to go out and look for it, and I'm really grateful for the fact that I can just like walk down a street and find someone that's selling something so fun. And I know that there are like real districts and stuff like in LA, like a whole neighborhood that's only selling piñatas, but I like this as well. And then I also found this woman at a thrift store, and she had just wonderful style, and I really appreciated it. And she was wearing all yellow and this rainbow hat, and we talked a little bit, and her cart was just full of really radiant selections, and I appreciated that. Okay, so please feel free to share in the chat, whether you're here now or later, of what you were happy about this week and what you are grateful for. Okay, so good news. So here is what I saw this week that I determined was good news for myself. I saw this kid on the street using a pogo stick to walk down it. Like instead, that's how he was traversing the sidewalk. And I haven't seen someone use a pogo stick in a really long time, and that made me very happy. And I felt like that was a really fun way to decide to travel. Okay, and then another piece of good news that made the headlines was this SPCA shelter in Pennsylvania had their kennel empty for the first time in 47 years. So all of the animals had been adopted, which is wonderful news. Okay, so here are some announcements. Now, I guess you didn't get to get this last week in advance, but today, the first lesson has already gone out. I have started a free challenge, which you are more than welcome to come join. It's called How to Have a Happy 2024. And I am teaching you how to decide what makes you happy, how to plan and schedule for it, how to feel and enjoy it, and how to make it keep happening on repeat. And this is, I mean, there's much more than that. We're really talking about how to have fun, like the most fun that you've ever had this year, but also how to really think for yourself, how to come back to the things that you love, how to, sorry, how to like embrace the fact that you are a weird person, but also kind of like recapture that. I know that a lot of us have been told that the goals that we need to make need to be very adult. And that's something that we can get kind of unsettled by and get really jaded with. Like the goals that we make need to be, you know, start this or stop that or do more or whatever. And it can be really disheartening and not fun to do all these things. And another thing is that we can, I don't know, like if you've seen that meme that's going around of like how to make a fun goal that's like how to make a fun goal that is for the new year, but like have a what does it say? It's like pasta geddon or pasta quest. I think it's pasta quest. And if if the person is like trying to remind people that your goals can be anything. Your goal can be to try every single shape of pasta, and if you do that, then like you've accomplished your goal, you know? So that's kind of the energy that I'm going with here. It's about having fun and reconnecting to play and fun and childlike essence, and that you can still have all of your goals, you know, all of everything else that you want to do. But I want to encourage you to make something that's coming back to, like a goal that's coming back to your joy, your fun. And do you even know what that is? You know, so we're rehauling this. We're making sure that this year is the most fun that you've ever had. And it's a totally free challenge also. It's completely free. So every day, we started already, the first lesson's up. Every day you get a daily video lesson, a worksheet, a bonus, a live coaching call that also comes with like an extra masterclass, homework assignments, and a Facebook community. I feel like there's something in my throat. I'm sorry. And yeah, it's really great. And if it's really just for you, like if you feel like you're just tired of things being mediocre or okay, if you are feeling like every time you get to the end of the year, it's something that you're kind of getting through, you're feeling like you're enduring it, you're just not really satisfied, or you feel like the goals that you're making are also something that are things that you're trying to fix about yourself. Do you feel like the goals that you're making are things that you are told that you are too much or not enough of, and you're trying to fit into a conformist box of something? Like, are you trying to tell yourself that you are too loud or too fat or too quiet or too boring or whatever it is, and you're actually secretly like not sure if that's even true, but yet you're making these goals to try to fit into these other boxes? And it's like, that's where we're taking back the weirdness of ourselves, the uniqueness of ourselves, and making sure that we're having fun. So there's all of that and more in the Happy 2024 challenge, which is free. You can get it. The marquee is going right here, uncustomary.org/happy2024. And I would love to see you in there. Okay, so let's get into this week's topic of gratitude. All right. So, actually, let me... All right. As a human, you get a pretty stellar standard package. You're on Earth. You're in a great location. You know, your humanity really wouldn't be sustained anywhere else. Just one planet over and you're dead, right? We're really so lucky to be on this planet, which is full of opportunities, literally overflowing with them. There are more things to do on this planet than you could ever really do, even if you wanted to. You know, even if you started out at 7 years old and you wanted to see every street on this earth and that's all you did, you'd fail. You know, it's too ornate, it's too huge, it's too vast, and there are new things being built every day. And even if you could see every street, by the time you circled back, all of those streets would look different. The color paint on the buildings would change. The different people would move in. They would age. Everything would age. What amazing things you get to do here, though. You know, we get to move around. We get to dance, explore, see in color, talk to people, learn things, fall in love, have orgasms, eat delicious food from ingredients that grow out of the ground and from trees. And, you know, we have access to the internet. Yeah, that relatively new thing. Sometimes we forget that these things, because they're like basic, we take them for granted, and that doesn't make them any less amazing, you know? And yes, we have this basic package, but we also have things that are unique to us, to you. And I want you to think about the things that you get to experience that no one else gets to do quite the same way. You know, so like, what are your skills? What's your unique perspective? What about your inspiring or hot friends? Your quirky city, your super soft pet, your job, your health insurance, your gorgeous handwriting, your hair. Think about it. Like, in fact, pull out a pen and start writing. Really, do that. And while we're in this space of me talking about gratitude and you feeling it, I want you to take this opportunity for me to remind you that expressing gratitude is often an indication of the lack of lack. And if we are able to have or experience something, it means that it's like in spite of something else, right? Like, what I mean by this is if you are grateful that you have water, that means that you are aware on some level that you know you need water. And if you didn't have it, that would be a less desirable situation. So you're grateful in this moment that you have it. What we're getting at here is that some people don't have what you have. So you're grateful for it, right? Or you had the opportunity to be grateful for it. You know, 2 people on my Merriment team live in different countries than I do. One of them lives in India, one of them lives in Nigeria. And after working with them for more than half a year, I started to notice some things that were uncommon from my daily life. And it prompted me to ask them what they think Americans don't know about living in other countries, especially developing nations, and or like what we kind of take for granted. And I feel like their answers can apply to most developed nations, Western countries, and mindsets, and help anyone listening understand in general that everyone is always experiencing a different life than you. Some of the answers I got were healthcare. You know, many places don't have proper healthcare facilities. Many people would rather die than, like, in their homes than even attempt to go and get healthcare. One of the things I got was free speech. We can't, you know, talking against your government or protesting is just not an option. You'll get arrested or hurt or worse. Many people exist their whole lives just to find food, just to survive and repeat. Like, they wake up, they're looking for food, they hopefully find it, and they go to sleep. That's it. Taking electricity for granted. Like Akib said, like, it's never going to end. There aren't nuclear powered electricity plants in other countries, and people struggle all day to access power. There's also government assisted programs for electricity, like welfare, but for electricity. It's a luxury to be able to purchase a generator as a backup. The amount of times that I've been on calls with my team and seen the power go out, countless. Americans can have the luxury to live their life adventurously or like on the edge. But in other countries, there are dangers around like every physical corner. And these things are things that can actually kill you, like an open electrical wire, maybe from trying to get access to electricity or internet, irregular traffic, giant potholes, street dogs, random cows in the road. But we're looking, maybe our lives are stable enough that we're looking for some sort of adrenaline. There's also a lot of diseases that are more rampant, like malaria and dengue fever that are carried through mosquitoes, waterborne diseases, and bacterial gut infections. And there's a reason why when you travel to another country, you need a ton of shots. And I know that's really like a bummer right now. Hello. I know that's a real bummer, but like my point is that the perspective and that I don't have to deal with any of those problems every day. I still have problems, right? We all do. But those are different than my problems. I would argue they're bigger than my problems. And I know that because if I had to choose between my problems and those problems of not having access to food or water or having malaria or dengue fever or electricity or internet, I would choose my problems all day, every day. And gratitude is a form of perspective and understanding, and ultimately a form of empathy for what others don't have that you are acknowledging you are lucky enough to have. And that said, be careful when you're practicing this perspective shift because your brain might be tempted to go in the other direction and start comparing yourself to things that other people have that you don't. Instead of practicing gratitude for like, oh, well, other people don't have this, so I'm grateful I have that. You might be like, oh, well, other people have this and I wish I had that, right? However, being grateful in our life doesn't mean that you have to accept everything the way that it is. You can express gratitude and also try to make things better, of course. It's the same thing as self-love. You can love who you are and evolve and improve. There's a nuance to everything in life. There's a nuance to gratitude too. The process of being grateful and using that information to inform what you want to improve isn't just like two separate boxes where you go, okay, I'm being grateful here in this box, and now I'm thinking about who like what I want to improve about my life in this box. Your brain isn't seamless like that. But your goal is to try to stay in the flow of gratitude as much as possible when you're listing out what you're feeling grateful for. So maybe like set a timer for 3 minutes for gratitude and do your best to start sentences with I am grateful for, to prompt yourself to try to keep yourself in that mode and see what comes after those things. And then when the timer goes off, then you can think about any perspectives or new insights you gained from that list. Like, what do I want to change? What do I want to improve? There also doesn't need to be any insights gained from your gratitude practice, especially not every time. It can just be the act of demonstrating gratitude and that's it. Not everything has to lead to something else. However, if you do gain insights about what can be improved or changed, it can go for what others are experiencing too. A gratitude check-in can be a call to action to connect to your purpose. For example, if you realize you're grateful for the fact that you have electricity and find out that other people don't have it, you can make it a part of your purpose, your passion, and your actionable mission to assist others to achieve access to electricity who have previously gone without it, right? So remember that jealousy and irritation are usually calls to action. Okay, so now let's talk about how to get started with your gratitude practice. So you're going to get a happy journal. You're going to to get started. We're going to get you going with you can call it sorry. Decide what you want to call it is what I'm trying to say. A happy journal, a gratitude journal, unicorn dreams book. I think deciding what you want to call it is really important. There's actually a word in psychology for it, and I'm blanking on what that is, but it's priming. That's what it's called. It matters what you call something. Like if you name your meeting something more fun, like incubation time or something, then you'll be more excited to do it. So for me, happy journal sounds more fun, and that's what I call it. And we're also at the new year, still, and it's a great time to start a new practice, but also it's a great time anytime. So name your project. Great. And step 2 is to decide what format you're going to keep it in. You can write on your phone, a Google document, an Instagram caption every day, a sticky note installation on your wall, slips of paper you put in a jar, paper you turn into a paper chain, Polaroid pictures you write on, a blog entry, a classic notebook. I have more ideas on my Instagram. But then get some supplies and make it pretty. You want to get excited about it. If you choose a notebook, I recommend going through the pages in advance and prepping them with stickers so the pages feel pretty once you get to them. It's like a collaboration with your future self. I love coming to a blank page and being like, oh, it's already decorated. Okay, I feel more inspired to already write on it. And then you want to create a routine. How often are you going to write? What time of day? And what is your minimum effort? So my suggestion, your mileage will vary, and don't take what I say, there's always a different answer for everything. But my suggestion is writing every day, writing at least 3 items, and writing either in the morning or at night. It's easiest to stack a habit to something else you already do, like eating breakfast or brushing your teeth. So in order to get used to doing something new, it's usually easiest for someone to attach that new thing to something you're already habitually doing. So if you're doing it every day, then you want to find something you're already doing every day. If you're doing it every week, then you want to find something you only do every week. You know what I mean? And for the beginning of doing a habit, it's really good to make that like an imperative part of your day for the first 2 weeks. And just try to be like no ifs, ands, or buts, right? You just really stick to it and set reminders on your phone, put up sticky notes, ask somebody else for accountability. Other tips are to include anything and everything that you want. Write in any format that appeals to you. Bullet point lists, paragraph prose, comic book panels, poems, short phrases. Don't leave anything out. The more trivial, the better, I think, actually. Go through every moment of your day, like comb through it. I like to do it at night because I feel like stuff is still fresh in my head. You might be different. I feel like I reset in the morning. Like I'm a different person than I was yesterday. So if I tried to do it in the morning, I wouldn't remember what happened yesterday. I have to do it at night, but you might feel completely different. You might want to do it on your lunch break. It doesn't matter when you do it. Your journal isn't just for monumental moments, though. In fact, it's like the exact opposite, I think. It's the food you ate, the TV shows you watched, a specific text conversation you had with a friend, or finding out something exciting is happening a couple months from now. You're probably going to remember the big stuff much more easily, but you're not going to remember a really specific conversation or weird thing that you saw at the grocery store. That's what I think these happy journals are for. It's for documenting the specific fun stuff. So then when you do read back on it, you're like, oh yeah, I do remember that, But I don't think you really need a journal to remember the fact that you got married or, you know what I mean? That's not really necessary. This is for reminding yourself of cool stuff that happened, the minutia and the Merriment minutia, and also just getting deeper into your own soul, even if you never read it back. How deep can you go? And another thing I want to say is that I wrote on, I think where did I share this? On maybe Instagram? I think it's helpful a lot of the time to write to do a mind dump or journaling session before you write your gratitude list. So sometimes you're not going to be in a place, yeah, exactly. we will remember the big stuff and sadly forget the day to day. Yeah, I'm getting worse all the time with my memory, and that's just maybe age. I don't know. But it's very easy to forget the day to day. Very, very, very easy. If anything, the documentation is one of my main motivations because of how easily I forget. And that's another thing. You can art collage in it. You can put pictures in there. You can put ephemera in there. It can become a catch-all for documenting everything through the lens and the slant, the angle of joy. So when you look back, it's not just like my teenage diary of, I am so weary. That's how teenagers write, right? But everything sucks because that's kind of like that thing. But like it's, you're kind of removing the bullshit of it. You're putting back in the lens of the joy because that's mostly what you want to remember, you know? I think stress has messed with my memory. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a couple years where I can't remember like anything, or I mean, it's come back some of it, but like PTSD and stuff can actually mess with your memory and take stuff out. I mean, God, my brother was in a coma and he can't remember before that. You know, like when I try to share stuff from our childhood, like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. You know, I can't even imagine that. I mean, I kind of can just because like there was a couple years in my life where I'm like, don't know. Like people will come up to me sometimes and I'm like, you're going to have to tell me how I know you. But yeah, this is another reason to document stuff just on a different, yeah, bullet journaling's great too. Any kind of journaling is great. Gratitude or happy journaling or joyful journaling is just making sure that we are demonstrating gratitude. And again, it doesn't have to be in a journal. It really doesn't. It's just about like the act of demonstrating it. The act, it can even be out loud, you know, it can be saying it out loud. It can be writing it on a dry erase board. But then we're getting into the temporariness of that. So it's like, do you want to document it or do you not? But demonstrating it is the feeling, the practice, and then the documentation is another aspect. So you just have to decide, do you want to kill two birds with one stone? Which is why I think journaling is great. Or scrapbooking, or whatever you want to do. Okay, so what I was going to say is that sometimes it's really great to kind of do a mind dump or just a journaling session before you go into your gratitude listing or practice, because sometimes you're going to find that it feels more difficult to express what you're grateful for if stuff is on your mind. The same way that I will tell you to like prime your environment for creativity, you know, make sure there's no clutter on your desk, set up the lights, create the ambiance, clean, check all the things off your, you know, trivial to-do list, pee, you know, take care of yourself, sit down, and then you can create with the most optimum efficiency and effectiveness. I also think that if you can do some writing and just kind of clean your mind, get down your feelings, clean the deck, and just kind of, you know, Julia Cameron calls this artist's pages or morning pages. That's what she calls it, which also don't have to be done in the morning. It's the idea of just free writing, free association. I don't know why she gets to claim free writing, but everyone has to quote her. She's not the first person that did that. But Julia Cameron, artist pages, free writing, just not caring what you're writing, just dumping your emotions onto the page and not letting it matter. just listing out stuff, feelings, fears, annoyances, grievances, kind of like literally the opposite of gratitude, right? Anything you're worried about being on your to-do list, anything, whatever, like, and then once you kind of get all that out, you might feel like it's counterintuitive or antithetical to what's you're about to do. You might feel like it's going to put you in a worse state. And depending on who you are, it might. I'm not saying there's no one size fits all. There just isn't. But I've had the experience of like trying to be in like a really stressed out space and try to write a gratitude list. And I just can't. I just can't. And it's because my mind is ping-ponging around thinking about like all the things I have to do. And the reason that I'm writing this gratitude list is to like check it off of another list, right? It's so that I can say that I've done something. And that's not really why you want to do a gratitude list. That's not why you want to do this practice. If you are meditating for 5, 10, 20, 60 minutes just to say that you've done something, and you're not really in it, you're not really feeling it, you're not really present, you're thinking it's bullshit, don't do it. Spend your time doing something else. You are losing time as we speak. Your attention and your time is precious. If you only have the time that you spend writing a gratitude list, that you're phoning it in and you're just like looking around the room being like, I don't know, cats, art, whatever the fuck else. Okay, did it. Look at me. I'm personally evolved. I can now say that I didn't skip a day. Guess what? I would rather you skip a day if it means that you're really trying to do something. It would mean so much more if you skipped the gratitude list and wrote down why you feel like crap. Phoning it in to do any kind of personal evolution like thing and just to say like, yep, I did all 365 days of my gratitude list, like, I get a star. And like, and then what? Like, we look at the list and it just says like the same shit over and over again. You don't actually feel connected to any of it. You haven't changed anything in your life. You don't actually feel connected. You don't feel grateful. You don't do anything different. There's no actual increase of empathy. There's nothing different about your life, but you have now written 3 things for 365 days. Congratulations. This is about a practice of connecting to emotion and looking at yourself and connecting to other people, practicing empathy, taking action. Like there's a difference. I feel like we can understand that, but there's a hustle culture and capitalistic productivity that is seeped through everything that we do, and we think that it's better to not miss a day. But something that's personal evolution isn't the same as lifting a weight. It doesn't just work because you pull the thing. It doesn't work the same way. You have to be connected. It's not a default thing. It's not pushing a button. If your mind isn't in it, it does not work. I'd rather you skip a day. I would rather you do that and be honest about why. Use that time to do something else. Use that time to take a walk, to feel your feelings, to yell. I hope that makes sense. Like, we feel like everything that we do has to be this 1, 2, 3 step process and punching in a clock. And there are some things that, like walking or something, or lifting a weight, that will affect our bodies if we do it every day. But there's so much more of life that's gray and nuanced. And yes, if you come back to a practice over and over again, the consistency aspect of something, of showing up for yourself, is very necessary. It's deeply necessary. But if you're showing up to a practice that requires your attentiveness, your mind, and you're phoning it in every single time, you're wasting your time. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so if you want more information on how to keep going with gratitude and what to do when it seems like you're running out of ideas, like if you do feel like you are kind of just looking around the room a lot and you're not really sure how to, get past that beginning, or you feel like you're plateauing, and you're like, I feel like I just keep writing cat and art and things that I'm seeing around the room, I can help you with that. I have a gratitude workshop that is included as part of a Merriment Maker subscription and available for purchase on a la carte on my website, and also part of something new that's coming on Friday. And that's a really great workshop. Comes with a workbook, and that will teach you much more about that. Okay, so your homework today is for you to make a list of at least 30 things that you are grateful about in your life as of right now. And some prompts to get you started. I would say, honestly, I think you could do 100. I think that would be a really great goal. But write down, you could do like, I'm grateful for my body, my talents, my relationships, my past experiences, my privileges, my unique abilities. Here, I'll type it in the chat. And you can just do like little categories like that, and that'll make it a little easier to break those things down, because then you're only coming up with like 5 for my body and 5 for my relationships and 5 for my past experiences. You could also do like senses or animals or I don't know, like anything, right? You can really do anything. So that's your homework for today. And also remember that there is another situation happening this week. Very fun. The 2024 Happy Challenge. There's a video lesson, a worksheet, a bonus, and a live call with a bonus masterclass and Q&A, live Q&A and live group coaching. That's all happening. It's inside of the Jumpstart for Joy free group on Facebook. You can get all of the access that you need for free when you sign up on uncustomary.org/happy2024. I'll put that link here in the chat as well. And the first lesson is up right now, and the first live call will be tonight at 6:30 p.m. EST. And I will look forward to seeing you there. And if you're feeling generous, please like this live call, like the chat, and share this episode with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And this is something I didn't say. We're doing Merriment Mondays live every other week now. I felt like it was better for the way that I'm doing content. It was just too much to do one topic, cram it all into 1 week. So needing to spread that out a little bit for making it easier for me, my team, and you to digest everything. So Merriment Mondays is now every other week. Now, because this happened, the technical difficulty, technically I will be back next week, because this was supposed to happen last week, but I'm just redoing it. So we'll be back next week, and I'll be back next week, and on the 15th, and then the next one after that will be the 29th. So, yes. All right. I will see you then, and hopefully I will see you every night this week in the Happy 2024 challenge for live coaching. Thank you so much for